Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about free will versus destiny or predestination. Do we really have as much freedom as we think we do, or is everything set in stone? Or possibly, is there a third, more unified and enlightened way of viewing this phenomenon? So, guys, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this topic. Let me know down in the comments if this message lands with you or if you disagree completely. Either way, I would love to hear from you. And if you are not subscribed to the channel already, be sure to do so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And if you do enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate if you could give this video a thumbs up. All right, now, if you ask different people this question, free will or predestination, you'll get many different answers. Let's take, for example, scientists, mainstream academia. This is a world that I was immersed in for quite some time. And there are scientific experiments that have shown in a lab that when people make what they think is a random decision, when they have a choice between a bunch of different options and they think they have the freedom to choose, there are signals that register in the brain that the person has already made the decision long before they consciously decide. And so many scientists will say, well, this disproves free will. It shows that we are pre-programmed, that every decision we're going to make is already set, that we don't really have a choice. It's just to our conscious mind, we think we have a choice. We are under the impression. And so these scientists love a deterministic world where everything is predictable. But if you ask me, this is a very disempowering way of looking at things. It's like we are kind of being just dragged along in the current of life without any say. If you ask me, more than anything, this gives people an excuse not to take responsibility for their lives. I think most of us want to believe that we have freedom, that we have a say in how our life goes. But at the same time, I think that many of us can't deny that there is an element of destiny. Maybe we look out at other people or we look at our own life and we say, this could have only been destined. Things couldn't have happened any other way. And so at the same time, I think we all like to believe that we are destined for greatness, for something big. And so we have this interesting dilemma presented to us. Do we have free will, or is our life already written in the stars? And I think another great place to look is our religions. What do our religions say? Now, looking particularly at Christianity and the Bible, this is the tradition that I grew up with. It's the one that I'm most familiar with, the one that I feel most qualified talking about. And on one hand, Christianity says, well, it's up to each person to repent, to believe, to choose God and to choose right over wrong. And many traditions, I think almost all traditions, teach this concept of what's called karma, that you reap what you sow, including Christianity. But at the same time, the Bible also says things like, as he chose us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and blameless before him. In love, he predestined us for adoption to himself as sons through Christ Jesus, according to his will. It says things like, for those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed into the image of his Son. And so we also have verses that can be interpreted as everything is already determined. We kind of have these seemingly opposing ideas in the Christian tradition, and the church really doesn't take a hard stance on this because it kind of presents a problem, this dissonance, where if free will is the ultimate truth, then if I am ahead and doing better than other people in life, if I have repented and been saved, then it's because of my own choices. It's because I am good on my own. I made better decisions. And so I don't really need any church or institution or higher power, God. But on the other hand, if predestination is true, then the only reason I'm ahead is because God chose me. God preordained me over other people, which means that God chooses some people over others, and that privilege is only handed to the few. And so this is a difficult topic in religion, because either way there is this sense of inequality, privilege, or superiority. Now, what I would like to present to you today is that rather than looking at it from an either or, black and white perspective, which, if you ask me, is becoming outdated, I think humanity is transcending this and rising above these very black and white ways of viewing the world, where one thing must be true and the other must be false. So rather than looking at it this way, I want you to begin to embrace a both and view of life, where two things can be simultaneously true. If there's one thing I've learned in my spiritual journey, it's that spirituality is ultimately about embracing paradoxes, things that don't make sense to the logical mind. The mind says, well, these things are opposites, and so they must be mutually exclusive. If one thing is right, the other must be wrong. But spirituality is the opposite. It's about embracing and loving and including all, like as we've talked about before. And the nature of our physical universe is duality. And so everything, even seemingly opposing things, are really just one thing, God, that are pretending to be many things, so it can experience itself through this process of separation and relationship relativity. And so, when it comes to free will versus predestination, I would like to propose that both are simultaneously true, depending on what perspective you view it from. Now, let's use an analogy. Let's say you are set on going to this restaurant for lunch. It's on the other side of town. You know you're going to go there. You know what you're going to order, what you're going to experience, what it's going to taste like. You're set on it. Now, you've made that decision, but you have choices as to how you're going to get there, how you're going to be, and what you're going to experience as you make the journey there. And so you have to decide, do I want to ride the bus? Do I want to drive my car in traffic? Or do I want to take my bike? Do I want to walk? Do I want to run? Maybe I get an Uber, maybe I text some friends and ask them if they want to come along and we carpool. You have more choices. You have your destination. You plug it into your phone, Google Maps, Apple Maps, and it pulls up all these different routes. And you can go through the scenic part. Maybe you take a little bit longer and drive through nature, trees, the wilderness. You get to soak up the nice view. Or maybe you're in a hurry. So maybe you decide to go through sort of the slums, the not so nice parts of towns. You could take whatever route you want. There's many ways to get there. And furthermore, once you decide what route you're going to take, what means of transportation you're going to take, you also get to decide how you are going to be and what your experience will be of the journey there. You could complain the entire ride because of traffic and because you're so stressed and work is bogging you down and your family, your boss, this and that. You can miss the whole journey there because you are so consumed with your problems and everything that's wrong. Or you could sit back, you could relax, you can enjoy the ride. You can talk to your Uber driver, have a nice enlightening conversation. You could take the scenic route and enjoy all the trees and enjoy unwinding for a little bit. And so this is how it is with life as I see it, is that we all have what's called a higher self or a soul self. This is the true part of us, the true essence that never dies and can never be hurt. And so what the higher self does is it plots our journey. It decides what we want to experience, what we want to learn. It's like deciding what restaurant we're going to go to. And so in a sense, the overall theme and the lessons and the sort of destiny of our life is set. But how we want to get there is up to us. And that is where we get to exercise our free will. Are we going to live life in a state of pessimism and cynicism and over-busying ourselves, stressing ourselves out so we never really enjoy our life and all we do is complain and see the bad things that are happening to us? Or do we want to sit back and enjoy the journey? Do we want to take the scenic route? Do we want to make great connections along the way and have great conversations and enjoy the little things that are going on all around us that we could just as easily miss? And so that's how I see it. That's where free will comes in, is it's really, how am I going to navigate this journey that I've chosen for myself? Am I going to navigate it from a place of joy and gratitude and fulfillment, or am I going to navigate it with a sense of just dread and fear and pessimism and lack? And so that is a choice we get to make every single day when we wake up, when we go out into the world. Yes, it is hard, because to the conscious mind forgets what the soul remembers. The soul chooses here to experience life in all its ups and downs, because in spirit you can't have that experience. You can't have the physical experience that you and I are having here in this lifetime. But the mind, whose job it is to just keep us safe and to survive, it arrives here and it freaks out. What is this? Why is everyone out to get me? Why is there all this pain and suffering and bad things happening? The mind doesn't understand. But it's a lot like putting on one of those virtual reality headsets where you put on the headset and you know what you're getting yourself into. You know it's going to be pretty thrilling. Maybe you're skydiving in the VR, or walking the tightrope or something like that, and it feels very real. You might even feel those emotions as your brain kind of freaks out at the thrill of it all. But you, the person who put on the headset, knows that you are always safe. And so this is how it is with the soul. From the soul's point of view, everything is already done. It's all happening right now, because the soul exists in a timeless, spaceless realm where it's one with all things. And so if you look at it from the place of the soul, predestination is true, because from a timeless perspective, your life, it's already happened. It's all unfolding in the eternal present moment. There is no such thing as past, present, future to the soul, because everything just is. But to the mind, which operates in linear time, we see life as a progression of events and steps. And so to the mind, from the 3D human linear perspective, free will is the highest truth, because we always have choice. We always can make a new decision and decide that we want to be a new person, that we want to be more true to ourselves. And so it's just like taking that trip to the restaurant across town. If your soul has chosen to learn in this lifetime forgiveness, then yes, you are going to experience difficult things, moments of betrayal and loss. But as difficult as this is to the mind, this is what you have chosen, to become stronger, to become more illuminated, more conscious, more aware, to remember who you really are. And so where your free will comes in is in how you respond to the circumstances that present themselves, the circumstances that ultimately you presented yourself with. As the saying goes, it's not about the things that happen to in your life. It's about how you respond to them. And so if you have chosen forgiveness, you can choose to respond to that betrayal with bitterness and resentment and hatred and retaliation, trying to get back at everybody who hurt you and trying to prove yourself to be something in the world because nobody ever had your back. Or you could choose to look at it as, wow, what a cool game. How am I going to overcome this challenge? What am I going to do this time? I know I'm fine. I know I'm going to make it, but how am I going to surmount this problem that's in front of me? And you can start to see it from a place of appreciation and gratitude. Like, wow, these difficult things that happen to me, they push me to my limits, but in the process, I become so much more. I become so much stronger, so much more open to life and capable of loving. And so the choice is there for us when challenges arise as to how we're going to navigate them. Are we going to respond from fear and hurt and wounding patterns, or are we going to respond in love and appreciation? And so this is the way I see it. Now, here is the caveat, is that most people think they are living from a place of free will, but they're really not. And here's what I mean. Most people haven't done the inner work. They are completely unconscious to the beliefs and the programs that run their life. They are, you could look at it as predictable, pre-programmed machines, where if they are presented with one stimulus here, they're going to respond in a totally predictable way. And I think most of us have seen this, maybe with ourselves, maybe with friends and family and people around us, where all of the behaviors are coming from a place of past programming and childhood traumas and subconscious beliefs about the world. And if someone gets triggered by something that their spouse says, you know exactly how they're going to respond. You know they're going to snap back with something to hurt that person back. Or if they're in traffic and someone cuts them off without even thinking, they're gonna flip the bird to that person. It's automatic. If they have a hard work, they think they're coming home with the free will to enjoy themselves, but they are pre-programmed to crack open the bourbon, sit on the couch, and drink themselves to sleep. This is not free will. Escaping pain is not really the free will of the soul. It's not the thing that really lights up who we are at a soul level. And so the key to exercising our free will from a soul, true, deep essence is in doing the work. It's in healing. It's in having the courage to examine the beliefs and the patterns that have been running our lives. It's about asking, is this really true? Is this mine? Or did this come from my parents or their parents or something somebody said to me? It is our choice. This is where free will comes into this equation. It's our choice if we want to hang on and to keep the programs and the beliefs that we have lived our entire lives from. And so we can choose a new life and a new way of viewing things at any moment. We can choose how we want to be and what we want to experience. And so, from a purely physical, a human perspective, which is the experience we all came here to have. And so I think this is really the highest truth. I believe free will is really what this is about, because everything is a choice, as far as I believe, that we choose to come here. We choose to have this physical experience in spite of the difficulties and the shortcomings and the pain that we experience. We choose to come here. There is nothing like this. There's nothing like a life spent here on this very difficult planet of Earth. It is not for the faint of heart, and we get to choose our adventure. The major life themes are our friends, our soulmates, our challenges, our triumphs. And this is really, I truly believe this, that we choose the adventure and then we forget that we picked the adventure so that we can experience it for the first time. It's like watching a movie. If you know how the movie ends, it's, there's not much of a reason to watch the movie. But if you come in without any spoilers, you're living it for the first time. It's brand new. It's true. It's authentic. It's genuine. And so this is how I believe life is supposed to be. Fun and adventure. And so if you're going through a tough stretch right now, which I think a lot of us are going through tons of inner healing and purging and dying to ourselves so we can be reborn in a new way, remember that there is a part of you that chose this. As heartless and insensitive as that might seem, remember that you chose it. It's actually a very empowering truth to remember that there is nobody outside of me. There is no God that is external to myself who is imposing a will onto me. There is no God who forced me to come to earth and stuffed me in this body and dropped me into a life that I hate. no, this was what we wanted. And it's all there to challenge yourself in new ways, to force you to grow so you can experience your true strength and your true resilience, so you can experience who you are and what you're truly made out of. And so just remember that if you chose the challenge, you also chose a way out. And so thank you for joining me for this Scripture Sundays. I hope this message landed. I hope you got something out of it, and that it was a more empowering and illuminating view on this topic of free will and predestination. So if you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate if you can hit the thumbs up down below. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And if you are looking for things like additional resources, coaching, more information, you can check out the links in the description or head over to my website. Feel free to reach out for any reason. I love connecting with you guys. I want to thank you for joining me. Stay tuned for more. I'll see you guys next time.